The world is said to be on the verge of ending. But how would that happen? How would humanity face it and survive? A lot of such questions were once explored in the Hollywood movie 2012, released in 2009. That movie was inspired mainly by the belief that the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, leading many to speculate that the world itself would end in that year. But nothing of the sort occurred. We are now living in 2025, yet deep inside us, the same questions remain: how will the world end, what will lead to it, and how can we possibly survive? If we look into Earth's history, we realize that our planet has already witnessed complete destruction at least 5 times. These were massive mass extinctions that wiped out countless species. By studying these past events, we can gain some idea of what might happen in the future, how the world could end, and how survival might still be possible. Today, let us look back at those 5 major extinctions. Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and life first appeared nearly 3.7 billion years ago. Over these billions of years, countless living beings have appeared and vanished. At different times, enormous creatures dominated the planet, like the dinosaurs, but eventually disappeared. Studies of fossils give us only partial knowledge of these species, since most were lost forever without a trace. Still, science has identified 5 great extinction events that reshaped life on Earth. The first took place about 443 million years ago. Known as the Ordovician extinction, it wiped out nearly 86% of life on Earth. The cause was extreme climate change. Temperatures dropped dramatically, freezing oceans and making survival impossible for most marine life, which then dominated the planet. Around 120 to 140 million years later came the next catastrophe, the Devonian extinction, about 360 to 380 million years ago. Triggered mainly by global warming, it was caused by massive volcanic eruptions that released toxic gases into the atmosphere. The oxygen balance was disrupted, and life struggled to breathe. Roughly 75% of species perished. Yet this was also when tetrapods, 4-limbed animals, first began moving from the sea to land. Only about 25% of species survived, eventually evolving into new forms of life. The next most devastating extinction came about 250 million years ago, known as the Permian extinction, or the Great Dying. This wiped out nearly 96% of all life, leaving only 4% to survive. Intense volcanic eruptions released dangerous gases like methane, causing acid rains and atmospheric collapse. Entire ecosystems vanished. But the small fraction that survived continued to evolve. Next came the Triassic extinction, around 200 million years ago, again triggered by massive volcanic activity under the Atlantic Ocean. Toxic gases and acid rains caused oxygen levels to drop sharply. Around 80% of life was lost. Among the survivors were certain reptiles, which later evolved into the mighty dinosaurs. For millions of years, dinosaurs dominated the Earth, shaping the planet's ecosystems. Then, 65 million years ago, disaster struck again, the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. A massive asteroid, about 10 kilometers wide, crashed into present-day Mexico. The impact unleashed enormous explosions, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis. Toxic gases filled the skies, blocking sunlight, and plants could not survive. About 75% of life was destroyed, including the dinosaurs. Only small species, such as early ancestors of rats, managed to survive. From them, through evolution, came the diverse forms of life we see today. So far, science has identified only these 5 great extinctions in Earth's past. What exactly happened beyond them remains uncertain, and our knowledge is limited. But as we continue studying, humanity may one day be prepared. With billions of years still ahead, perhaps humans will understand enough to face and survive the next great extinction.
Subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.